What's it like to feel responsible for the shutdown of a film set halfway through completion? Today we'll be talking with well-known comedian, writer, and lead actor of this film, Leland Klassen. It's part of a series of short interviews on location from the set of Empty Nets. But first, if you're finding this podcast helpful, take a moment to follow or subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you think others would be interested in listening, please rate and review to make it easier for others to find. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or podchaser.com.
This is the Faith and Family Filmmakers podcast, helping filmmakers who share a Christian worldview stay in touch, informed, and inspired. Quiet on set. Rolling. Your hosts, Geoffrey and Jacqueline Whitt.
Hey, this is Jeff with the Faith and Family Filmmakers podcast, and we are on set with Leland Klassen. We're not on set at the moment, actually.
Sort of.
Well, we are. We're housed on set.
Did you hear my joke about the difference when an American actor says, the difference is when a Canadian actor says, I'll be in my trailer, that's where they live?
I did.
Did you hear me say that?
I did, yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we're both Canadians.
We're kind of in a trailer. We're both Canadians. And I am living in a trailer right now.
Pretty much. It's a beautiful little loft house here. The set is at Capernaum Studios in Poolville, Texas.
Yes.
Have you filmed here before? Or been on set here
No,
before?
we did a proof of concept for Empty Nets.
Oh, yeah.
A few years back, but that was a part of the content conference.
Yeah. So you've been here before, probably more than once.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to do stand-up for all of the award nights that he'd done in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Tim likes to have me out there doing that, which is a lot of fun. Love it.
I bet. So it's not the first time you've worked with Nathan.
No. Sleeper Agent would have been the first one.
Okay.
And we actually met at an ICVM. You ever been to an ICVM conference? Those are really good.
I have not. I'm hoping to go next year.
Yeah, it's really good. And anyway, I was rooming with Brad Mix at the time, who's Crown Entertainment. And we were talking about, he was talking about Nathan Blair. And he said, this guy knows how to stretch the dollar and do a really good product. You should talk to him about some film.
Uh-huh.
And I said to him, yeah, that's great. That's fine. He can stretch the dollar. But if I don't have $1, and then he said, well, maybe I'll fund it. So I said, okay. So I went down to meet with Nathan, and I just mentioned to him about this, because I had another script I was pitching at ICVM. And I told him about Sleeper Agent. And Nathan right away lit up and was like, oh, yeah, let's talk. Send me that script. And then, of course, he got in there and helped kind of clean it up a little bit. And
yeah.
Not it was dirty, but clean it up in that,
Script.
Yeah, just script-wise. He's very good at that. So yeah, and then we went back to Brad. I said, okay, looks like we got a deal. You going to find that money for us? And so Brad was like, okay, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
And a year later, we were shooting that movie.
Yeah. And I saw that along with Jacqueline at your Abbotsford premiere.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That was March 9th, 2020.
Yeah. We've watched it since then, and we've recommended it to people.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, the reason I remember that was March 9th, 2020 is that the world shut down that next week.
Oh, I do remember.
It was a couple days later.
Yeah. Great way
The world ended.
Great way to launch a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here you are again. So this is the second project as far as film goes with Nathan?
With Nathan, yeah, that I've done, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in various stages of pre-production on some other stuff, but this one kind of came about quick.
Yeah.
And I called Nathan to, do you want me to tell you that story? Should I break that
Go
down?
for it, man, yeah.
Yeah, this one, I'd been talking to content for years and years because, like I said, I'm here all the time, this content conference in Capernaum Studios, and I'd kind of pitched them on the idea of investing in a movie with their resources.
Right.
But I had different projects in mind. I had a series of Empty Nets was supposed to be a series.
Okay.
And then I just kind of abandoned that because it's so hard in the faith film industry to do a series unless you have bonnets and a horse. I mean, realistic. I'm serious. But anyway, I just talked to Tammy Lane, and she called me, and I'm not a closer. I don't consider myself a closer. And so she called, and she's like, so Tim Shield said you needed you wanted the studio for like January. The slow time is January. Like January for a couple days?
Couple days.
I was like, oh, no, like the month. It would be the month. She's like, oh, okay. So do you have a distribution deal? And I was like, no, I don't have a distribution deal or anything. She's like, oh, okay. But the script, the script is done? No, I'm still, because I had nothing as far as the feature was concerned, right? And she paused for a little bit and was like, okay, yeah, let's go for it. I was like, it's my worst sales job ever, but that's the first time I ever closed, I think. And then my next call was the guy who wanted to give me, there's a guy in Olds, Alberta, Dan Weeb, fantastic guy, who really supported what I did and wanted to get behind something I was doing. He saw Sleeper Agent as well. He saw me do stand-up lots, and he was like, I want to fund something. And I always kept holding him back, pushing him off. Let's wait for the right project. Let's not just dive in. Let's just wait for the right project. And then after I got the call from Tammy on this, I was like, well, I think this is
The right project.
It's coming together. So I called him and I said, here's what we're doing. This is what it would be. And he said, yeah, let's do it. I can have the money in the account tomorrow.
Cool.
And I was like, okay. So my next call after that was Nathan Blair. And I said, hey, Nathan, you want to make a movie in January? And this was like October. And I was like, I haven't written the script yet. I haven't done. I just basically told him everything. And he was like, yeah, let's go. Cool. We trust each other. He was my first call. And he knows that if I've got an idea that with his help, we can get it there. So I wrote the first draft of it and sent it to him, and he said, how would we possibly fish? Like, we can't do an ocean, the Sea of Galilee and these kinds of things. So we figured out how to make it work, and then he gave me an outline based on my first one. I rewrote it with the outline, and then he came in and helped clean it up again. So it was, but that was all within that was 3 weeks, maybe.
Wow, that's very fast.
Yeah, we hammered it out.
Cool. Now, you mentioned that Tammy called you about filming in January, but as we sit here right now, at the end of April, it's not January.
It's May right now. Yeah, well...
I mean, I know, but...
Yeah, no, we were set to finish, and... Well, let me say it this way. I got hurt doing a stunt. So I'm kind of like a Tom Cruise or a Jackie Chan.
Okay.
I wasn't in the stunt. I was stunt adjacent. I was helping doing a stunt, and I was an idiot. That's the easiest. That's the quickest short form. If you want to edit the rest out, I was pulling a guy. He had to look like he was being dragged away, so we had rope around his ankles, and I was pulling him. And I was thinking to myself, safety first. I can pull him, but I don't want to pull my back out or something. I'm old. Why don't I get some help? So I got Michael, who does set dressing.
Yep.
Now, hey, listen, it's my own fault for prejudging him because he was a set dresser, but he was set dressing. He was putting up fabric. I saw he was sewing one day. I was like, this can't be that bad, but he is very strong. And he got on the other side of me and pulled really hard, and right before he pulled, I don't know why I did this, but I wrapped the rope around my hand.
And he was behind you on the rope.
He was behind me, and so, yeah, he pulled and spiral fractured 2 of my fingers. And found out later we also ruptured a tendon. So, yeah, I was done, and I'm the lead, and we had to shut down production.
So you were trying to convince him that you could keep going.
I made that. You heard that story?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I heard it all.
I was sitting there. What's funny was there was a lot of pain, and I felt like I had to throw up as I'm trying to argue with him that we can do it. And so it wasn't as bad as this, but it felt like I was just like, we can get this done. We can still finish just give me. Yeah, he thought I was just in shock, which I probably was a little bit too.
Right.
But I wanted to just get it done. Once you start something like this, it's so hard to restart it up. And I didn't want to have to grow this beard out again because I look like a hillbilly and just all the things. So
you went to emergency?
I went to wonderful Texas urgent care. They took care of me. Let me tell you this too. So Olivia, who plays Mara, my movie wife, was the one that drove me. And she was so like, oh, you want me to open the door for you? And do you need a seatbelt? Do you want me to help with the seatbelt?
Yeah.
And she was so mothering and so caring and nurturing. Oh, let me do this. I filled the forms for you. Let me do the things, all this kind of stuff. And then after that, I flew home. And that night, my wife was picking me up from the airport, and she tosses me the keys and says, "You drive." It's a movie wife to real life. It's very different.
Movie wife to real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went in. They did X-rays right away. I was hoping it was just. My hope was that it was just something that like a joint had been pulled out, or you know what I mean. You just pop something out so they can just like adjust it, pop it back in, and we can go. But it turns out it was much worse. So I had to have hand surgery, had to have pins put in my hand. And that healing process, I went through rehab, and I worked so hard at rehab to get ready for this May. I was just pushing and pushing and pushing, but my one finger was still just kind of dangling. And they said, man, you made so much great rehab progress, but that finger, it looks like we missed it. Your tendon is busted. So here's a splint for the next 6 weeks. And of course, it's week 5 right now. So I'm supposed to keep this finger straight. And
you had to film around it.
We've been trying to film around it. Yeah, as best we can.
Yeah. So I know you really wanted to avoid the set shutting down.
Yeah, I felt horrible. I felt horrible.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. How did it make you feel?
No, terrible. It was when we were announcing it. I'm looking at the crew and I'm telling them, and I got kind of emotional because I mean, things happen. If you're not being reckless or careless, then it's nobody's fault. And maybe I was being careless for doing something stupid, but I still took it on regardless. I took that responsibility on myself, and I just felt horrible because it was completely my fault. And because we're a low budget, that costs when you shut down.
Everybody flies home.
I mean, so that's why we did that fundraiser, just to kind of cover some of those costs that we lost. And the people responded.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And so we're back here and going to finish the job now.
Getting off to a great start. We've got 3-4 days of filming, I think 4 or 5 days.
And we're only 1 day behind. 4 days, we've only gone back 1 day. Yeah. Good.
Well, Leland, you are a comedian.
Yeah.
And in fact, you're flying out tomorrow to a gig and back tomorrow morning, back the next morning.
Yeah.
Something that you'd booked prior to
Yeah,
this schedule.
I didn't even have it on there was a miscommunication. I didn't even have it on my schedule. And so then I had to go to Nathan and say, hey, can you shift things around?
Yeah.
So that was a difficulty, but we got that done. But yeah, Sunday I flew in. I was coming from London, England. I don't know how many hours time zone away.
Right.
Many. It was a 10-hour flight. So yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to catch up on sleep.
Yeah, and that's because you were doing a comedy cruise, was it?
Yeah, well, it was a cruise ship. I work cruise ships doing stand-up as well. And so I did stay a couple days with my wife so we could have some sort of vacation. So we could see each other for a couple days at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And as far as watching your comedy, your routines, any particular place that you'd recommend or send people?
Yeah, I mean, just go to my website and there's links there and stuff. You can find me on YouTube.
Yep. So your website is?
LelandKlassen.com with 1 E. 1 E.
Okay. Well, we'll put it in the show notes too.
Okay.
So people can find it.
Yeah. Everybody does. Everybody's supposed with 2 E's now. It drives me crazy.
And Sleeper Agent. If you haven't seen it already, you can find that.
Amazon Prime, I think. You can find that on YouTube as well.
Uh-huh.
If you go to Crown TV, where we've got lots of distributions through Crown and the various sites, you can find it there.
It's fun.
Thank you.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've enjoyed spending some time with you here. It's never a dull moment at our meals. Or
all you have to know is I'm an idiot and I say stupid things and it gets me in trouble. That's all the people at home need to know.
Okay, well, it's been fun. Thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I probably already mentioned this to you. I'd love to do a longer interview, after we're all home, if you ever get home. And talk more.
Sounds great.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks for listening to the Faith and Family Filmmakers podcast. If you would like email reminders about newly released episodes and more, please sign up at faffpodcast.com/email. That's faffpodcast.com/email. Bringing filmmakers together for faith and family.
That's a wrap.